Okay, now with the audio recording, this is take 3 because the first time my camera died. The second time I didn't start Audacity, so now this is the third time, and we'll see how far I get. Hello, Haunted Hearts viewers. Sam here. Today I am not doing a silent film reaction, but instead I'm going to be watching an episode of a television show. And the show is Tales of Tomorrow, which was a science fiction anthology series in the early 1950s. The whole thing is on YouTube. It's free to watch. We'll link this episode below. And the episode I'm watching is The Crystal Egg. If you watch or listen to our podcast, you will know Emily, SW, and I recently did an episode about The Crystal Egg, which was a short story by H.G. Wells. And Wells wrote this around the same time that he was writing The War of the Worlds, and some theories consider this a prequel to The War of the Worlds. It involves Martians, and the Martians are spying on Earth, and some of the ideas are that this was how the Martians decided on their plan of attack for their invasion of Earth. But the Martians don't really resemble the Martians in the War of the Worlds. The main similarity is that they all have lots of tentacles. So I'm going to see how this televised version, I would say compares, but as we discussed in the podcast, not a lot of action happens in the story. It mainly deals with describing what's on Mars, how Mr. Cave, the main character, is able to look through this crystal and see what's on the other planet. There's some back and forth with his family and people who want to buy the egg, and he doesn't want to sell it. So I'm curious to see how that was translated into this is a 23-minute television show. I suspect it'll be very different, but we're going to find out. So I'm going to hit play on this, and again, all these episodes are on YouTube. If you would like to watch the show without me talking over it, or if you'd like to watch other episodes from the series, this was a very early science fiction television show. So let's just start.
That explore the unknown. Presented by Jacques Chrysler, the name that means quality in watch bands.
Oh, the audio, it sounds like styrofoam. The audio on this isn't great.
The Crystal Egg by H.G. Wells. And starring Thomas Mitchell.
There were actually a lot of very famous actors in some of these episodes. Lon Chaney was in some. James Dean was apparently in one of them.
We present The Crystal Egg, starring Thomas Mitchell.
My name is Vanyek. I'm a man of science, and I've been chairman of the physics department at Cambridge these past 10 years. I am, I believe, well respected by my colleagues, and I publish several important papers, as well as 3 books. My contribution as a scientist is a matter of record, but this will not help the case I plead, for already some of my colleagues are hinting that I'm acting strangely. Vanyek is having hallucinations, but this affects only me, and there is something else involved. There is involved the welfare of this country, perhaps the world. If something
So already, it's setting us up for the War of the Worlds if you already have the background of that.
Started that evening in Cave's shop in the West End.
This is so dark, too.
No. Yes, sir. Something I can show you, sir?
Yes, the crystal egg in the window. I should like to buy it.
The crystal egg, yes, sir. It's an interesting piece, sir. Now, here we are, sir. It's a good-looking piece, what?
Fine. If you will wrap it, please.
Yes, sir. Excuse me just a minute, sir.
Yeah, that's about the size that I imagined an egg to be when we were reading the story.
We bought from Parsons. Can't be worth more than 10 bob. We only paid 2 quid for the lot.
No, it's not listed.
Are you wrapping it?
Seems in a powerful hurry, that one.
When the customer seems anxious to buy.
I haven't much time.
Yes. We haven't discussed the price. That'll be £5.
£5 for a piece of crystal?
Oh, but sir, this...
I'll give you £1.
A pound! Ah!
Oh, dearie. You've shocked my wife. Oh, £1 indeed. No, sir, the price is £5 under steel at that, sir.
£2.10, that's all I have.
I'll hold it, sir, for...
But I was told to... Very well. I'll return with the money.
See, this is already framing Cave's motivations very differently. In the story, he was very reluctant to sell the egg. And he told us that he priced it very high because he didn't want to sell it. We're kind of getting the hint here that he knows something about it and it is special for some reason.
And when he comes next time, I'll tell him I made an error. I should have asked £10.
What?
Yes, he seemed very anxious to buy the crystal egg.
But his motivation here seems to be more monetary.
I've always wondered about this. It's a strange piece.
You're the strange one.
Perhaps. I think I'll call Professor Vaniak. I'd like the good professor to take a look at this crystal egg.
Oh, you're crazy.
I'm crazy. Was I? Wait. Professor Vaniak. This is Cave. Yes, Cave of the Curio Shop, sir. Yes, I have a favor to ask of you, Professor.
I came so close, so terribly close to telling him I was too busy. I'd purchased several items from his shop and paid well for them, so I owed him no favors. Perhaps I, too, wondered why anybody would pay £5 for a piece of crystal. So I said I'd see him.
When that man comes over, we'll never get to the flicks.
Did you really have your heart set on it?
Well, it's not that important, but perhaps we could tomorrow night.
That I most definitely promise.
Do I disturb you? I mean, can you get your work with me done, with me hanging around here and all?
I'd say you were a slight disturbance.
I could go.
Oh, no, stay.
You know what I wonder?
What?
I wonder how an educated man like you finds a girl like me interesting.
Nonsense. We complement each other.
Oh?
Go together, like tea and crumpets, like Georgette and the professor.
Oh.
But I would like to see my visitor alone.
Oh, of course.
We are also getting a lot more of the professor's life here than we did in the short story, which was, again, aside from Mr. Cape's family dynamics, wasn't really about the characters.
Talk about old bachelor professors. Run along now, darling, and go out the back way.
All right. But don't forget, the cinema tomorrow night.
I will.
Good night, Jackie.
Good night, dear. Come in.
But for television, you do have to add more interest here, other than just showing us scenes of them looking through the egg.
Oh, here's a piece of mine, one item of mine. How well it looks in the room, sir.
Thank you. I'm sorry I can't ask you to sit down, but I'm pressed for time. Examination papers, you know.
Yes, of course, I understand. Well, this won't take more than a moment of your time, Professor. Now, I would like to ask you, sir, what is this?
Huh? It's Crystal. Very ordinary crystal.
Ordinary crystals. Are you sure, sir? Is there no way of testing it?
Well, if you want to leave it here when I get time, I'll examine it.
Under your glass, the
Yes.
spectroscope, sir? Oh, that would be fine. That would show it up, wouldn't it, sir?
Yes.
Could you do it now?
Oh, no, I can't.
No, of course not, sir. Well, in that case, sir, I'll leave it here, and I won't take up any more of your time, Professor, if you'll do it. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Good evening, sir.
Good night.
I do appreciate the music we've got going on in the background here. I'm almost curious if Mr. Cave comes up in this episode again. I don't think I imagined actually like cut glass in the story like that. But
Was I certain? This landscape was not of this earth.
Right, here we go.
Yes.
Is this Professor Vernick? I hope I didn't wake you, sir.
Wake me. Oh, what time is it?
It's 9 o'clock, sir. Have you any news for me, sir?
News? Cave, yes, I haven't had time to take a look at your crystal.
Oh, but sir, there's a customer coming this
You know,
morning.
if we don't get to see Mars, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But what we're getting here is he's kind of spent all night looking at this thing.
I worked feverishly, and I began to make progress.
And now he's obsessed with it.
Slowly but certainly, the strange landscape in the crystal became clearer and clearer. I was able to distinguish certain features of the terrain. Landmarks became visible.
Can we see it?
Spectroscope readings indicated
Can we see it?
that the atmosphere of this landscape was different from ours. The mineral content of the mountain ranges were of no earthly origin. There was only one possible conclusion. I was looking at another planet.
I imagine if we had had color television at this time, they could have really impressed upon us that it was red, so we as the audience would have known right away without having the background of the story that it was supposed to be Mars. But without the color, we can't know that unless we know the story already. So that does add a little bit more intrigue here.
Georgette.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know you're frightfully busy, and I've no right to make demands, so whenever you're free,
No, you make demands all you want. You're entitled to them.
I'll let myself out.
Thank you, Georgette, for being so thoughtful. My brain was reeling. I was exhausted, feverish. But there was no stopping. Finally, the landscape came into focus. Sharp, clear. There, close to the horizon, was Saturn, in ascending aspect to Neptune. This was the answer. Through the crystal egg I was looking at a landscape on Mars. And then?
That's kind of a similar way, aside from the redness. Oh my. In the short story, they determined it was Mars partially based on where the constellations were in the sky, and the fact they could see stars that you can also see from Earth. I was curious if we were going to get any aliens in here. This is pretty typical with the scientists, right? They become obsessed with their work, and that's all that they think about, and it's just all-consuming.
Professor, but I have to see you. I have to have the egg back.
Oh, you have to have it now?
Yeah, yes. The young man keeps returning every few hours, and now he'll pay me £10, and that's a lot of money.
No, not for that, Crystal. You let me keep it a few days more.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Professor. Is it in...
No. Hold on here. Now, you listen.
Yeah, it seems like in this story, Mr. Cave wants the money more than he realizes how interesting and special this egg is.
Now watch carefully.
It almost seems like instead of trying to price out his potential customers, he's actually gouging them for as much as he can get.
Cave, come back here! Don't sell it, Cave!
And he's not trying. Like he can't go that far. You got to your office and quit. Mr. Cave doesn't strike me as someone who's running marathons. I don't think he can sprint that fast. Though, I mean, if the professor was just out of breath walking from his lab to his office, maybe he can't either. Is he gonna steal it from the shop?
Mr. Cave. Mr. Cave. Oh.
Darn, it's supposed to be lost. We're close, can't you see? Oh, it's you, Professor. Oh, he was a good man, Charles. He was a good man. He had his faults, but who has?
What happened?
Haven't you read it? Splashed all over the morning papers it was. Oh, it's horrible, horrible. His head all bashed in.
What has happened? Where?
In an alley. They left him to die in an alley. Beast. They must have been.
They?
The police said it must
This is a
have been at
big
least 2
deviation
hours
from the short story.
The egg. Please. Mrs. Cave. So the police found it. Did they find the egg?
I meant to ask you about that. Where is it?
Well, Mr. Cave took it last night.
What? I don't believe it.
So, didn't the police mention it? Say anything about it?
No.
No. The man who wanted to buy it. What did he look like?
Look like what? He looked like a man, of course. What do you suppose?
He looked like a man. He was a very tall man.
He looked like a man. Yeah, well, yes, I know.
Generic man.
He looked like a man.
He's a crab on ears.
I'm always curious about how people do those police sketches because I feel like unless you're, I don't want to say it's difficult to recall a face, but like those kind of fine details, especially if you're trying to report a crime and you've maybe only seen the person for a few seconds or just very quickly, getting that amount of detail into a sketch based on someone's description has always been intriguing to me.
Where is it? Who took it? Without the egg, nobody believed me. My story means nothing without the egg. Even my colleagues wouldn't believe me. With the dean,
Yes, Vanyek.
He's not wrong. I don't think most people would believe you if you told them you had a piece of crystal that you could see Mars on.
There's no need of my telling you, I suppose, that your story
It
has
sounds
been
a little,
making the
it
rounds
sounds
of the
magic,
factory
right?
room. No. I don't care to discuss the matter, but if it should be brought to my attention again, I'm afraid I shall have to resort to some course or other. Poor man. Poor man.
He's insane, that's what he is. He believes it. He must be insane. Nice old Vanyek.
Mars. Imagine, he says he's seen Mars in an egg.
Fools! Can't they understand me? Can't they hear me?
It's eating you up. Why don't you let it out? It's that egg, isn't it? That thing.
Look at me, Georgette. They only know me as a scholar. You know me as a man. You know me better than any one of them. Tell me something. Am I mad? Tell me. Have I gone mad?
Oh, no, Frederick. If what you say is true, if the egg is dangerous, if it must be found, then I believe it. I believe anything you say is true.
It is true. It must be true. It has to be true. I'll see my friend Walker. If he'll publish my story, well, then they'll have to believe it.
Let's see, what I'm thinking would be a really interesting twist to the story. Would be if the egg was stolen by some sort of society that knows about the Martians and is either trying to assist in the invasion or perhaps prevent it.
Open it and state your case. Vanyek.
Like a big conspiracy.
More than one of me?
Well, look at you. You're fat enough to be triplets. Sit down. What brings you into this jungle, anyhow? An article, I hope.
As a matter of fact, yes, an article. Do I have to brief you, or do you know the comic details?
I'm an old friend, Vanyek. An old friend overhear things. Sometimes they listen, but they never turn their back. If you hadn't sought me out, I should come to see you.
Thank you, Walker. I believe that.
What can I do for you? Anything in my power.
Publish my article. You publish it, and then they believe me.
I should have to read it first. I'm a friend, yes, but I'm an editor, too.
Then you're rejected. That's what you're saying.
Vanyek, may I be frank?
Please.
Let's suppose that what I have heard is substantially the truth. That Vanyek, a professor at Cambridge University, has discovered a crystal which reveals Mars. Now, we assume that.
Yes.
And I publish this information in my magazine, read by scientists throughout the world. Vanyek, where does that leave me?
Oh, with Leeuwenhoek and Galileo.
No,
Yes,
no.
yes, with Leeuwenhoek. When he peered through his microscope and saw a mass of life and they laughed at him. With Galileo, when he pointed his telescope and saw something so bright that it shook the earth. Impossible, they said. Galileo is mad. Leeuwenhoek is mad. All who see first are mad. Then the world sees and the madmen become heroes. Now you listen to me, Walker. I too know what I have seen, and I'll scream it to the world.
Yeah, unfortunately for Galileo, it was posthumously.
Leeuwenhoek had his microscope. Galileo had his telescope. Ultimately, others could see. But you, where is your crystal egg?
Where is my crystal?
He's got a point. If you can't provide the evidence,
I'm thinking of myself, I'm thinking of you, your reputation.
you haven't got any proof.
I know all that.
And you're willing to risk that?
But I must. Don't you understand? I saw him. I saw him watching us.
I don't understand that, Vanyek. I don't understand that at all.
That crystal must have been put there on purpose. Don't you understand? Through that crystal, they're seeing us night and day. They're watching us in unguarded hours. Why are they watching us, Walker? Tell me that. Why are they watching us?
Now, Vanyek.
Oh. Oh, yes. I've seen that look in the eyes of all the others. Poor Vanyek has gone mad.
No, Vanyek, not like this. Don't go.
This is my story. Here's the record. Listen to it well. For if I'm to meet the same fate as poor old Cave, and something tells me this is so, then perhaps what I've recorded here may impress my esteemed colleagues. Somewhere in our world, the crystal exists. Find it. Find the crystal. For through it they're watching us, watching our every move. They are... Ugh.
Maybe it is a conspiracy. Oh man. Well, that did take a very different turn from the short story. In the story, Cave died with a smile on his face. There was no robbery. The egg was just sold, and they were never able to track down who had ultimately purchased it. But yeah, this is setting us up for the Martian invasion in the War of the Worlds, and giving a lot more of a sinister spin to the ending here. But again, yeah, the short story didn't have too much happen, so I can see definitely why they added those elements to make it more exciting for TV. Yeah, there was also a lot less about Cave. Cave's family played a much bigger role in the short story. We learned a lot more about how terrible his wife and stepchildren were, and the egg was almost just like an escape from his everyday life for him, because he could look through it and see this other place, which was also described very differently. It had cities, it had buildings, there were towers with more of these crystals on them. The Martians could fly. Which is, I guess, maybe something you could accomplish with special effects. I mean, with something with a bigger budget, with more modern capabilities. This is very early television, so, and which also explains like why the lighting is so dark throughout most of this show. But yeah, that was the Crystal Egg from the Tales of Tomorrow from 1951. If you would like to see me react to, or would you like to watch with me more episodes from this series, let me know in the comments, and like and subscribe if you are interested in more stuff like this. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!